Would anyone besides Theo like to come up for a story this morning? What have you got? Ooh, it's squiggly. Hi, Jack.
I was just making a fortune.
What were you doing, Sierra? You were making a fortune teller. Wow. This one? It's just that it's
So it's closer here.
but it's cutting in and out. That's the problem. It's there and then it's not there. It's there and then it's not there. It's there and then it's not there. So I can't use it. We'll call the sound people on Monday morning. So I'm going to tell this story holding this microphone, so I may need your help with holding some things. And I've told this story to some of you a few times. Oh, we need the shiny side light, so let's turn it over. There we go. Oh, thanks, Jim. That's good. We don't need it really, really big. So I'm going to ask those of you that have heard this story, which is a really great story, to help me as we go, because that will help everyone to hear the story in a good way. So we begin with nothing. Nothing. And I wonder what nothing looks like. Hard to imagine nothing, isn't it? But that's how it all begins. This story is with nothing, except there was something in the nothing. There was a spirit, God. There was a spirit. And all of a sudden, you ready? Bang! There was a big bang. And that spirit out of nothing suddenly became something big and bright and hot, and it spewed out of the nothing and formed something. It formed the beginning of our universe. And out of that big bang, there were galaxies, yeah, with all kinds of things and stuff and stars. And so stars formed. Hot, bright balls of fire that started to shine out. And one of those stars was our sun, our very own sun. That sun that we feel warm on our face, that sun that lights our path. And one of the stars, well, actually a lot of them, but one of them exploded and threw all this stuff out into the universe, and part of that stuff became our Earth, where your bird's going to live, right?
We're on it.
And so this planet, and in all of this, that spirit that was there in the nothingness was there in every part of it. And then one day, something hit the earth and a big chunk fell off, and it became our moon. And there's our moon. And then after a long time, water started to form. And the water, which began as raindrops, started to create seas and lakes and oceans and ponds and puddles. And in all of that, that Spirit of God that was there in the nothing was still present and still at work. And then in the water, bacteria tiny little buggy things, the very first signs of life. And the Spirit of God was in all of that bacteria. And then they started to get together and they formed things like jellyfish. Yeah. And then, remember this one? What's this? Shells. Why did they grow shells? Yeah, they were eating each other. So they had to have shells so that they could survive. And the Spirit of God was at work in all of this new life. And also there were fish. Fish started to appear in the sea. And then land. The oceans started to move and the ground underneath rose up like mountains and land formed. And of course when land formed, some of the things in the sea moved up onto the land like frogs and lizards. And then our favorite thing in the world also appeared. Insects, mosquitoes, and beetles and spiders. And the Spirit of God was in all of these things. And then trees and plants started to grow. And the Spirit was at work again. And after a long time, we had dinosaurs. And they lived everywhere on this earth. And they lived in really big ways in the oceans as well, like this big creature here. And the Spirit of God was in all of these things. And then we had, you know what this one is?
Oh, yes, a meteor smash.
A meteor smashed into the earth. And it changed the climate. It made it very, very dark and cold, and all of the dinosaurs died. Well, some survived, yes, like turtles and crocodiles survived because they could burrow into the sand. And we had what did we have? We had mammals. And remember how big horses were when they were just little tiny things when they first appeared. Little tiny. And the Spirit of God was in all of these things. And then after the first mammals, we had monkeys and gorillas and orangutans. And at the same time, we had, let's see what that is. Flowers and weeds. The very first dandelions. And the Spirit of God was in all of these things. And then after an even longer time, we had people. The first people walking upright on 2 feet. And the people discovered fire. And all of a sudden, they didn't have to depend on the weather anymore. They could keep themselves warm and they could cook food. And with that, they started to, what did they do here? Yeah, they made pets of animals and helpers, dogs and cats and horses.
We went on the dinosaurs, the dinosaur picture, like it was from one of the movies, one of the shows I saw on the channel.
It might have been. It might have been. And in all of this, millions and billions of years, the Spirit of God was at work in all of it. And then, what did we have there? Do you know what this says here? Oh, before that. This one.
Cities.
Cities. We started to have cities, and people came together and lived together in different ways. And then each of us are part of this amazing story. And the Spirit of God is still in each of us and working in this world. And the very last beat,
Future robots.
what's going to happen next?
There's going to be lots of robots.
There could be lots of robots, that's true.
And we don't have to control cars.
That's what I call the great story, because it's a story about all of us and everything. And so this is the story that you've been working on in Children's Church. You'll fix it today, though. So you're going to head off to work on your own stories, I know, and we're going to sing a song first, which is some of the, this is a beautiful song, and you can sing it with me up here, about other ways that we experience the Spirit of God, God of the Spirit.